your life is love that you want. That your life is love that you want.
Alright, so we're going to get to putting on the upper pan here. There is a special tool that Volkswagen has to align the upper pan to the block. Of course, that's a stupid amount of money, so we're going to use these. Essentially, all the tool is a piece of metal that you mount up here, and it just makes sure when you mount the upper pan, it's flush against the block. These are actually just guides from a wood splitter. So we're going to try that out and see how it works. Before we kick off this episode, I want to do a huge shout out to Works Motor Co. for sending me this stainless steel hardware kit for the 07K. You'll see me using these throughout the episode and throughout the rest of the build, so give those guys a follow, WM Stainless on Instagram, and I'm pumped to be working with them on this build. So they sent me a bunch of random miscellaneous bolts, so I'm going to use those, a couple of those on here. Again, these don't need to be super crazy, I just want to make sure the face of this is aligned with the upper pan. So I'm going to bolt these in real quick and get going. Alright, so I've had all this Boost Brothers garage stuff in my garage now for almost 2 years, and I really haven't opened any of it, so this is extremely exciting for me. The upper pan here, so we'll see what it looks like. And what Boost Brothers Garage does is you send them the upper pan that comes with your engine, and then they ship you back this. Alright, so here's the pan, and this is where they take your old pan, they shorten it, and they add this sump on here, and pop this off so that we can get to the inner bolts, and I can show you all the different flaps they have in here to make sure you never get starved of oil. Go. Shortened oil sump here. So there are a handful of bolts in here. That's why that has to come off. And I think I'll pop this off, put it on afterwards. So you gotta line it up with the pickup tube. Alright, now we'll go to the manual over there on my computer, figure out how to route the sealant, and get this put on the block here. So here you can see how we route the sealant on the top, and then the bottom you'll see those special tools that I made out of wood splitter guides. Alright, I switched things around a little bit so I can see the diagram while I'm doing this, so let's do it now. See if anything comes out of this. Okay, got that on there, so let's get it on the block. I'm gonna give this one more wipe down, but everything is super clean in here. Oh yeah, and I wanted to update y'all from the last episode. It broke. I stripped a couple of these studs. I went through and replaced all of them with a new kit from Dracos. Those guys are awesome. They gave me a discount because I only needed 2. I ended up replacing all of them, getting a brand new torque wrench, electronic, so all that's good. So we will get to putting this on now. Let's see which way it goes. I'll line these up in the front here. Let's see if we got... Probably should have got some bolts out. Let's go do that. Upper oil pan. Some of these bolts in here. We have a fun problem here. Let me show you what's going on here. So we're gonna have to redo this, which is fun for me. So if you look here, right here, let me get this focus off, there we go. The studs are interfering with this right here, so I'm gonna have to clearance that a little bit, and then I'll have to redo the silicone. Should have checked that before. But you can see right about, let me focus, right about there. It's interfering with the studs I put in. And you can see this isn't flush, so that's not going to work. Try to clean off this RTV while it's still wet. Make my life a little easier in the future. Alright, so if you're ever wondering why I do all the engine work over here and all my workbench stuff's over here, I try to keep the two areas as separated as I can so that we don't have any metal shavings going into our engine or dust or dirt. I know I can't avoid all of it, but so right now we're going to clearance this upper oil pan a little bit so that it fits on there snug. This little kit here, and we'll clean that up. I always like using new tools. It's always a fun time. Alright, so everything fits in there nicely. Just had to do a little clearancing. You can see this side right here has plenty of space. You can move it around a little bit, but now we can get these clamped on and get this lined up. Same thing with this side. There's a little bit of play, so there's plenty of room in there. So yeah, let's redo the RTV. If there's one thing you need to know about me is I hate RTV. Bring back gaskets. Alright, let's put these guides back on and get this upper pan on. I didn't film putting the gasket back on. I didn't think you needed to see that twice. Put these on to guide it into place. Again, those are just to make sure the front faces are lined up so that when you put the timing cover on, you don't get any leaks. Go. Falls right into place. So now we'll put all the bolts on to 25 Newton meters. New torque wrench set to 25 Newton meters, and we will torque all these down. Alright, so time to put in the oil pickup tube. So I'm just going to throw a little bit of assembly lube on this so it slides into place easier. Actually no, we got to do the oil pump first.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
So as you can see, the upper pan's back off. I forgot to put the oil pump in, so we're going to do that now. I got a couple new O-rings for it. Don't want to mess around with your oil pump. This is very important to the health of your engine. Take that out and we'll put the new one in here. And then we'll come back over to the engine and put this in. So as you can see, the upper pan goes over this, so you can't actually tighten this hole right here without the pan off. For the third time in this video. All right, we will put all three of these guys in, tighten them down to 25 Newton meters is what the torque spec is for these, so get on that now. Set. And snug these up and then we'll torque them down. This is so much better than the clicky kind. It tells you when you're close. Shows you the exact torque on here when you're doing it. Love this thing. Five. I just finished resealing this whole thing again. Just going to put a little bit of assembly lube on here so this slides in. It's rubber. It's the existing pump. And that goes like this. And there's a little retainer for this little guy right here. Slide that in here. And then it's 10 Newton meters for all of these bolts. It's just going to be interesting because my wrench only goes to 13 Newton meters. Just trying to get it close. I don't think 3 Newton meters is a big deal. I don't think it's going to break a bolt off in here or anything like that, but get our closest. And I can see it counting up, so that's 10. And then I need the 2 bolts for the oil pump. Alright, then put these 2 bolts in. These are also 10 Newton meters. So the torque wrench only goes down to 13.7, as you can see, 13.6. But what I'm doing is I'm just reading it as it goes. And I'm stopping once it gets to 10. It's not beeping or vibrating, but at least I know I got the right torque. And one extra thing that I just wanted to point out, the directions also say to wipe this surface clean because this needs to have a clear mating surface for when you seal all of this. So I'm just giving this a quick wipe. And this is perfectly lined up because of those plates I put on there, so this is good to go. Now that I have the oil pan on, might as well use this to protect the engine from anything falling into it. Figure out why this isn't sitting on there. Don't know why that's not sitting down all the way, so troubleshoot that here. And we'll be back with you. I'm glad I checked this. These 2 bolts aren't torqued down, so I'm going to torque them to the same as the rest of the larger Allens, which is 25 Newton meters. Alright, so it's a new day. We're going to work on, I guess, putting the front seal on here now. So let's go to the parts bit over here and find out where it is. Right here. So again, we're going to follow instructions on where to put the sealant, and we'll do that right here. I don't know if I covered this yet, but I did get this cool little tool for spinning the crank. Fits over here like this, and you can spin the crank easily. But in order to use it, you need to have the bolts in. So I'm going to pop those out, and then once this is all back together, I'll actually put the pulley on here and put it all back together. That works. Motorco did send me a fresh set of stainless hardware for the front, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Should go like this. And you have this little plastic guide here that gets it over the head of the crank, and you just feed it on over that, and that's that. Now we do need to just be sure whenever you're changing hardware around that's not OEM, we're going to have to make sure this doesn't interfere with the back of the crank pulley here. So we'll do that here in a minute. This is one thing I didn't clean up. Maybe I'll get a higher performance version of it in the future, but throw this on for now. Can only go on one way. These bolts are slightly offset, so make sure you have it right so you're not stripping anything. And then to torque that down, we need the crank tool that threads in over here. So let me go find that. So real quick, we're going to get this at TDC, the tiny little mark on the crank right here. And there's a slot over here that I need to get them lined in, and then we can put the locking pin in the crank. So this is again that cool little tool that I got. This points towards over here. Again, this only goes on one way, but now we can spin this. Find that mark. And then I have this kit. I got off Amazon. This locks the crank into position. There's a little nipple in the crank. This will go into her little dimple. Thread that in here. You can see the dimple. It's got to be rotated a tiny bit back. Perfect. Thread that in there. Locks the crank in place, so you can no longer turn it. Now we can torque these down. Now these bolts go to 50 Newton meters, so we'll set this 50, lock it in. So it says 50 and then a quarter turn, so we'll do that. Start up. Nine. All right, so I've kind of been going through the list in my head, figuring out like what is next to do to this thing, and I really think it's time to put the head on, which is kind of exciting. So you're gonna see me, I'm just gonna clean all this stuff up, get any dust and debris off. It's still all oiled up from when I assembled it. And I guess we will drop the head on, put in some of the head bolts and head gasket, and this will start to look like an engine again. Here is the head gasket, and then I have head studs also from our friends at Dracos Engineering. They're the ones who helped me out with the main bearings, and I'm just frantically looking for my box cutter, which hopefully should thread right in here. We'll see. Yep, put it in the right way. There's little Allen heads on one side. That's how you know it's the top. Those help make sure you get them all bottomed out all the way. But it's about to look like an engine here soon. Now there is a little bit of RTV you need to end up putting on this, because you can see this end over here is going to stick out until you get the covers on, but right now this is just more of a test fit than anything. So I'm looking at my instructions again, and it looks like you need to have all the lower chains in here, because you need to put RTV over this, but also under this, where these two surfaces meet. So I think I'm going to hold off. I'm waiting for one more bolt for the oil pump. And once I have that, I can put all the lower chains on, and we can do that. So that'll be here in a couple of days, so that's when we'll pick this up. While we're waiting, I'm going to get this rear main seal out. Now I did just want to mention to be extremely careful not to damage the surface where the rear main seal contacts the timing cover, or else it will leak. Use a piece of wood to try to get an even amount of pressure on this. Alright, while I wait for some parts, I really just want to see what it looks like with the head on it, with everything cleaned up. So sometimes when you're in a project, you've got to do this to keep it going. So that's what I'm going to do here now. Let's see what this looks like. And look at that. Not quite ready to go together yet, but that looks good. One of the things I want to test out, one of the things I heard is you have a hard time getting the tool on the end of the ARP head studs with the the camshafts in, so I'm going to try and just see if I can access them with the crank in, or with the cams in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me bring this closer. Alright, so I have this set up, so hopefully you can see, but basically now I'm just testing whether or not I can get a socket in here to tighten these bolts, and it looks like I'm in good shape, which is awesome. Well, already dropped that, so let's get my magnet out. The stock configuration, these are bolts, not studs. So what I need to do is get something to stick in here. That is threaded on, so I should be able to use this to do it, which is awesome. I think that's where we're going to have to leave you for today. Because of the main stud, I'm going to have to pretty much take apart everything that I had done in this video to pull that nut off and replace the washer. But by the next video, and the magic of editing, we'll be right back where we left off, and we will get to putting the chains and the head on this engine.
The drive is love that you want.